there again. Thank you so much for tuning in to our three-part series where we're now talking about part 2 of our Lead Limitlessly series. And we are talking about the key secrets to living and leading a limitless life. My name is Dr. Sarah Renee Langley, award-winning speaker, coach, author of Lead Her International. And here we are talking about how do you take the limits off, tap into your limitless potential, and to discover your next. Let's recap from our last session. So in the last series, or the last training session, I talked about what did it mean to be limited? What does limitless means? I asked you and I challenged you to think about how is it showing up in your life. If you know, there's a saying, how we do anything is how we do everything. And a lot of times we don't even realize where we're thinking that it's only happening in one area of our lives, that it may be spread across. And if that's the case, what do you do about it? I also gave you homework assignment. And I had asked you, no holds barred, to free associate, which just simply means just to write until you can't write anymore, whatever was on your mind, to put it on paper. In regards to what do you do? What are the limits that you are noticing that has been placed on your life, whether by you or by the opinion of others, whatever the case is, that have you stuck, that have you fearful of going after your dreams and living the best life ever, or being the best version of yourself. So I hope you did your homework assignment, because now we want to talk about the key secrets to living a limitless life so that you can lead yourself into going after your dreams. You know, it's like just dreaming big without any worry, without any inhibitions. You know, when I think about limitless, I also think about these words that always stimulates me. I love the word freedom. I love liberation. I love deliverance. I love healing. I love those words because to me, that is what limitless is. To be free, to be you. Does that resonate with you? Do you want to be limitless? See, that is a great question, I think, because for one reason. Oftentimes, which was one of the limits that we put on ourselves, we play victim, we play small, we make excuses. And while the excuses can be legitimate, nevertheless, it has you stuck. So the objective is to really get yourself out of being limited, even if it's at the expense of no longer using anything as an excuse any further. Shifting your mindset from being limited and what's causing you to be limited to now the solution. How do you become limitless? Yes or yes? So with that said, I thank you so much for taking massive action by showing up. 80% of success is showing up. So thank you so much. And I have a free gift for you, complimentary, at the end, where you now are going to be invited on how to now create, which is our last part of our 3-part online training series of living and leading a limitless life. How do you now create the lifestyle that you desire and deserve? But let's first talk about what are the 6 key secrets of living and leading a limitless life. So let's begin. All right, so here are some key points that I want to bring up. I mentioned earlier our thinking. The way that we think determines how we behave. Oftentimes we're thinking that we need to change our behavior and that everything will be fine until we find ourselves right back in the same situation. We're like, well, why did I do that? Why am I still doing the same thing that I thought that I no longer was held captive in doing? Well, because you didn't change your mindset. Your mindset is really what is driving everything. So if you could change your mindset and how you look at life in a different way, then that will impact your behavior and everything else, the results that you're looking for. So let's talk about it though. One key secret that I would like to share with you is giving you an example, if I may, with myself. So, who loved dodgeball? Have you ever heard of that game, dodgeball? I was the champion when it came to dodgeball. Let me tell you how. See, I was so athletic when I was younger. As a matter of fact, I was a tomboy. Can you tell? I come from a family of having 5 brothers. My sister had passed away. I'm the baby girl in my family, and so I grew up with all boys. So yeah, I was able to hang out with the best of them. And one game we used to love playing was dodgeball. The object of the game is that person, there's someone on either side, and they have this big soft ball, and you're in the middle between the two. The goal is for you to dodge the ball. So it could be, let's say, 5 people in the middle, and now the 2 people at either ends are throwing the ball to see who they can get out of the game. Now it comes down to one person. They got everybody out except for one. And now you're going to count down from 10 to 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're able to survive from getting hit with the ball by the time that they count down to 1, then you are the victor. You are the champion. So I was a champ at dodgeball until I got hit with the ball at number 5. OMGZ, I could not believe that they got the queen of dodgeball out of the game. I couldn't believe it. I said, what did I do different? I was always winning because I was very competitive back then. And I try to play the tapes back, so to speak. I try to go back in my memory, like, what did I do different or what did they do different? Here's where I'm getting at with this. One key secret to living and leading a limitless life is to stop dodging life. Now, when I look back on that game, perhaps it was because I was very calculated. So I kind of knew the people and how they would move and maneuver. So I had to be ahead of them. And so now I would calculate my moves and my steps. Okay, I missed up one time because I took advantage of the fact that it was always the 2 people that was always on the end. They never wanted to play dodgeball. They never wanted to be in the game. So I became familiar with their pattern, with how they do with the ball. Except that one day I took advantage of it. I thought that I knew every step, and perhaps I did, but I became cocky to the point that I became lazy. I didn't stay up on my game, and therefore I got hit with life. Do you know what I'm talking about? The point isn't about the fact that I lost the game. Maybe I'm still hurt about it. I need to talk to a counselor. Don't tell anybody. But it's the fact that I became so great at dodging. How we do anything is how we do everything. I became great at dodging life. I avoided, if you will, I avoided pain. I avoided problems. I avoided challenges, or I was always ahead of the game to not have to deal with challenges and not deal with problems. But here's the thing. When we avoid life like that, it puts us in a limited situation because we don't even know how to deal with life when it comes. First and foremost, that's the law of the universe. In regards to, there's always going to be 2. Good, bad, right, wrong, this, that. There's no need to dodge life. So one key secret to living and leading a limitless life is to no longer dodge life. Yes or yes. Your job is to learn how to master both. Either way, allow yourself to live, not be stuck in fear. No one, and especially you, no one wins in that. No one gets anything from you being limited. Here's another key secret to living and leading a limitless life. You have to make sure that you are flexible. Please say that word so it resonates within your spirit, within your belly. Flexible. You have to be flexible. You can't be rigid. Here's why. Because life happens. If you're always focused on one way and doing it one way only, how are you ever going to make it through? When situations change, when, again, life happens, you have to become flexible with life. Otherwise, you're capping. You're creating the glass ceiling. We talk about that. I don't know if you heard this around and by your cubicle. Your cubicle, or you heard this somewhere, at the water cooler or at a conference or a networking event. And we're talking about glass ceilings and how we keep hitting these glass ceilings. And we think that it's everybody else that created the glass ceiling. But hey, did you know that perhaps you played part with that glass ceiling, all because of your thinking? Because you're choosing to be inflexible. You're choosing to be limited. So another key secret to living and leading a limitless life is to become flexible. Adjust where life adjusts. So whatever you find yourself in, see where you can now adjust or become flexible to flow. To not buck against or to go against what is happening, because perhaps it's happening for a reason. Everything, and this is my philosophy, what's yours? My philosophy is that everything and anything happens for a reason. It plays part with our growth, with our development, with us becoming. Powerful person, let me ask you this powerful question. Who are you becoming? The late, great Jim Rohn, you need to look him up if you don't know who I'm talking about. I'm paraphrasing, he talks about that. It's not about going to your job and wondering what is the job doing for you and what are you getting from the job. It's about, okay, what are you becoming? The job is a practice swing. It's helping to cultivate and to develop who you are to become, who you were born and designed to become. Where you are today plays part in who you are to inevitably become. That won't happen if you stay limited. So I'm giving you some juicy nuggets here about being limitless. What key secrets that I can share with you to become limitless and live and lead a limitless life? Yes or yes, so that you can go ahead after the lifestyle that you desire and deserve. It's all good and it's okay. Here's another key secret. So another key secret to living and leading a limitless life is, being yourself. Authenticity equals limitlessness to me. When you can embrace and accept who you are, mind, body, and spirit, no matter what people have to say about you, OMGZ, you have arrived to be limitless. Congratulations. When you're able to accept who you are, your quirks, everything about you that perhaps people have something to say, but you are okay with it, come on. You have truly learned the art of being limitless. I had another client who was always challenged with people's opinions since she was a little girl. And I've seen the pattern between the relationship between her mother and her, where she grew up in such an opinionated environment or a fearful environment. Her mother had these desires and dreams to do many things, but she was always afraid to go after and do them, up to where she's in her 60s now, and still, unfortunately, from what I gather from my client, she's still the same. Her mom is still the same, but my client isn't. After us working together, helping her to identify where she is self-sabotaging. I'll talk about that in a second. Where she had taken on the persona of her mother and how she handles life, because her mother was the example of what limited was. And she was too afraid to go after her dreams. But here is the difference for my client, and perhaps this is something different for you as well. She took action. She took action. She knew that there was more to life than this. She knew that she had this ideal, this unction within herself that, you know what, I know that there's glass ceilings out there, but how about there's something on the other side of that glass ceiling? She started to ponder life and question, is it more to life than this? It has to be, but how do I get there? How do I break through the glass ceiling? So the fact that she had all these questions that she was asking put her in a position to now become limitless. She had to recognize that there were things about her that, she had to accept. That perhaps when she would hear the opinions of her mother, having her to play small and to shrink down to make her mom feel good, because mom felt bad at the fact that she didn't go after her dreams and desires. So now she was putting it on her daughter to not go after her dreams. many opinions, many name calling, very various things that were said to my client that we had to work through to help her to sift through and to know when it was her mom's stuff versus her stuff. When recognizing for yourself, where is it showing up in your life where you're limited? As I gave you that homework assignment before and discussed that with you in the last training, it is a matter to be able to pinpoint where in the world is this serving you? How is it showing up in your life? And is it bringing the results that you're looking for? And if it's not, it's time to let it go. And the only way that you want to let it go is if you replace it with something else. See, we're going to default to what we know. That's why we always go back. Besides the fact that our mindset has not changed, we're going to automatically go back to what we know because that's all we know until you present another way that puts you in a beautiful place called choice. That is one of the major keys to leading and living a limitless life. Having the choice to decide. When you get in position to decide what you want, that your desires and your dreams and your aspirations are humongous and is way bigger than the little fear, false evidence appearing real, the little fear that's holding you and gripping you, that little bitty fear that you're giving too much energy to. You need to shift it and put it on your dreams, your aspirations, that they can happen. Yes, they can, I'm telling you. Because I was there. I was there. I was you. That's why I'm talking to you now. To let you know that if I was able to do it, you can too. Here's one more key secret to living and leading a limitless life. I pretty much said it. Do what Eleanor Roosevelt has said. Look fear in the face and do the very thing that you think you cannot do, because guess what? You were designed to do it. We call it extinction. Please say extinction. Extinction just means, hey, facing your fear. So let's say that you have a phobia. So back in the day, in counseling land, many of us therapists would help clients who were trained to help clients with phobias to help them to extinguish or to, face the fear. So they would do it in baby steps and in bite sizes. So let's say you have a fear of flying. And so you do not want to get on an airplane. We have to knock you out like Mr. T. I'm dating myself. But instead of having to knock you out and give you tranquilizers and things like that, why not face it? So first of all, it would be simulated. Or prior to that, the extinguishing process would start with thinking about it. Again, remember, we have to change the mindset first. What are your thoughts about flying? And being able to face the objections of flying, allowing yourself to say how you feel about it. Then from there, start to picture what is it like to fly. Being able to simulate it or start thinking about it in your mind and start to tap into your senses to know what it feels like to think, to smell, to hear, to taste what it's like to fly. Then from there, starting to see pictures about airplanes. Then perhaps the next step is to look at movies about airplanes. Then the next step is to now pretend that you're in the airport and you're home and you're now pretending that you're sitting in a seat on an airplane. And so do you see what I mean? Step by step by step by step by step, you're taking baby steps. And from every baby step, you're actually strengthening your qualities and capabilities and your wherewithal, your mindset that it is okay. You're giving yourself permission to actually face your fear in dealing with it. And the more that you are empowered to face your fear, oh my gosh, it gives you the momentum to keep going after your dreams. To the point that now you find yourself on an airplane going to visit a client who paid you lots of money because of the fact they saw you as the solution to their problem. Yes or yes? See, that's what I'm talking about. Living and leading a limitless life. Why not try it? Start to extinguish fear. When you're able to extinguish fear, it puts you in a position to live and to lead a limitless life. So with that said, let me ask you this question, powerful person. You now had a chance in the first training talk about what is limitless, what is it like to be limitless, or more so, what is it like to be limited. We talked about what limitless is, but what was it like to live limited, excuse me. And now we talked about the keys, some key steps to living and leading a limitless life. The question is, what are you going to do? I said this before. Oftentimes we will get all the information necessary to get ready and be prepared, but we don't do anything with it. We don't implement. We don't take action like we are supposed to after we get the information. And if that's you, I have a surprise for you on part 3, our final online training series on living and leading a limitless life. I'm going to teach you step by step how to create your limitless life just for you. What is your signature, your blueprint? What is your step-by-step plan of action? What is your roadmap that you need, that is necessary for you to easily and effectively execute creating and living and leading a limitless life? So you made it. You made it all the way to the end, and I say thank you. And as a thank you, I want you to now click on the link below and make sure that you get your downloadable PDF on key secrets on living and leading a limitless life. What I want you to do is make sure that you come back for part 3, the grand finale, and next steps on being able to now create the lifestyle of living and leading a limitless life. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Sarah Renee Langley. It's always a pleasure to serve you. Be limitless, and see you at the final training.